It was 3 in the morning when Sophia rushed into my house holding Lucas, who was covered in blood. "Darling, help Lucas. He's been beaten. Take us to the hospital, please." I stood on the stairs in my pajamas, watching her tremble with anxiety, watching her hold that man tightly in her arms, her eyes fixed on him and not on me. I said coldly, "No." "What did you say?" She stared at me in disbelief. "He's dying. Better if he is." I turned and walked upstairs. "Remember to wipe up the blood. Don't dirty my floor." She cursed me hysterically from behind, calling me cold-blooded and accusing me of watching someone die. But she'd never know that 3 hours earlier I'd just finished watching the surveillance footage of her and Lucas at the Starry Hotel and heard her call me a tool and say Lucas was her true love. And now she had the nerve to run to me holding her lover, begging for help? How naive. 3 hours earlier, I was in the study handling Johnson Enterprises files when my secretary Emma knocked and came in. "Mr. Ethan, the thing you wanted has arrived." She handed me a USB drive, her expression somewhat complicated. "It's all on here. Do you want to look now?" I nodded and motioned for her to leave. It would be a lie to say I wasn't nervous. I had never imagined hiring a private detective to follow my wife. But Sophia's recent behavior had been so abnormal. Coming home late at night, saying she was with her girlfriends when I called one of them and was told she hadn't gone. Keeping her phone on her at all times, even in the shower. Someone who used to cling to me, now not even letting me touch her. And then there was Lucas, her college classmate, the so-called male best friend. 3 months ago, he suddenly started showing up in our lives more and more. Sophia always said Lucas was having trouble at work and heartache and needed a friend's care. Care? I sneered and plugged the USB drive. The first video file was hotel surveillance. On the screen, Sophia walked into the room arm in arm with Lucas, wearing the dress I had just bought her, smiling so happily. My hands began to tremble. The second video was from inside the room. I saw her take off that dress, saw her embrace and kiss Lucas, saw her reveling beneath another man. It felt like someone was squeezing my heart. I could hardly breathe. But that wasn't what made me most furious. The audio file's conversation was the real killing blow. "Lucas," Ethan transferred another $100,000 to me, said I should buy whatever I like. Haha, he's really a sucker. When are you going to tell me how you trained such an obedient puppet? Don't say it so harshly. Ethan treats me really well, but you know I love you. When are you going to divorce him? You can't keep going on like this, can you? What's the rush? Wait a little longer. Let me move most of his money first, then I'll confront him. If I divorce now, I won't get anything. You're such a little rascal. But I like it. Of course. How could a boring man like Ethan understand me? All he ever does is work and make money. He doesn't understand romance at all. Unlike you, who knows how to cherish a woman. So are you still going to pretend to be a loving couple now? Of course I will. Yesterday, I even coaxed him by saying I'd give him a baby. Didn't you see how excited he was? He's so easy to fool. Their laughter stabbed at my eardrums. A doormat? Easy to fool? 5 years of marriage. To her it was nothing but a con. I remembered last night, when she lay in my arms saying she wanted a child. Remembered how I was so excited I couldn't sleep and kept thinking about names. It was all just an act. I sat in the chair, letting anger and despair roll in my chest, then slowly calming down. Since you think I'm easy to fool, I'll show you what a tool can do in retaliation. Are you crazy? Ethan! Sophia's scream pulled me back to reality. I turned and watched her holding Lucas, tears in her eyes. Lucas is really about to die. Please save him. I glanced at Lucas coolly. There was indeed some blood on his face, but his breathing was steady, probably just an external wound. Good acting, but unfortunately I've already seen through your trick. I said no, I'm not going. I sat back down on the sofa, picked up the remote. If you want to go to the hospital, go yourselves. Don't bother me. How can you be like this? Sophia could hardly believe it. He's my best friend. Best friend? I sneered inwardly. A friend of the bed, more like. So what? What does that have to do with me? Ethan, what's wrong with you? You weren't like this before. She put Lucas down, came over and grabbed my arm. Are you under too much pressure at work? How about we see a psychologist tomorrow? Work pressure? You're good at making excuses. I'm perfectly normal. I shook her hand off. I just don't want to deal with your damn problems. Damn problems? Her voice climbed 8 degrees. You call Lucas's situation a damn problem? Isn't it? I looked at her, my gaze cold. A grown man, beaten up in the middle of the night, doesn't call the police, doesn't call an ambulance, runs to someone else's house for help. If that's not a stupid thing, what is? Sophia was left speechless by my words. Lucas weakly spoke up at this point. Ethan, I'm sorry. I know it's not right to trouble you like this. But I really have no other way. There was still a hint of provocation in his voice, as if to say, your wife cares so much about me. What can you do about it? Ridiculous. No other way. I stood up and looked down at him. That's your problem, not mine. Ethan, Sophia finally snapped. You're going too far. Lucas is my friend. Can't you help him when he's in trouble? Why should I help? Because I'm your wife. Wife. I laughed. Do you know what a wife is supposed to do? She froze for a moment. A wife should be at home with her husband, not coming back in the middle of the night holding another man. What are you saying? Lucas is hurt. Of course I had to take care of him. Take care of him? My voice grew colder. You were very thorough, taking care of him. Your clothes are soaked through. Did you wash them with your tears? Sophia looked down at herself, her face a little pale. She had indeed been crying hard. Her white shirt clung to her, and you could vaguely see the underwear beneath. In that state, who would believe there was nothing improper? I was just worried about him. Worry? I cut her off. Have you ever been this worried about me? She opened her mouth, but couldn't speak. Because she knew in her heart she had never worried about me like that. I'm getting a divorce, she suddenly shouted. Ethan, you've disappointed me so much. I can't live in a marriage like this. Divorce? I almost laughed out loud. You want a divorce? That's wonderful. It saves me the trouble. But I won't make it that easy for you. You want to take my money? Dream on. Fine, divorce then, I said coolly. But if we're divorcing, property division will follow the law. What do you mean? That means premarital assets belong to each person, and postmarital assets are split equally. However, I paused. If one party cheats, then it's a different matter. Sophia's face immediately went deathly pale. What do you mean? Doesn't mean anything to me. I sat down again. Anyway, if you want a divorce, go ahead. I won't stop you. She looked at me, disbelief written all over her face. She probably hadn't expected that the husband who always obeyed her perfectly would be so firm today. Lucas weakly spoke again at this moment. Sophia, don't argue with Ethan. I'll find a way to get to the hospital myself. No. Sophia immediately turned around. You're so badly hurt. How can you go by yourself? Seeing her worry about another man reignited the anger in my heart, but outwardly, I remained cold. Do as you like. I stood up. I'm going to bed. I have work tomorrow. Ethan, Sophia called after me. Are you really not going to do anything? I didn't turn my head. From now on, whatever happens between you is none of my business. As I went upstairs, I heard her calling for an ambulance downstairs. Her voice was choked with tears, probably accusing me of being cold and heartless. But she would never know that I already knew everything, and my revenge had only just begun. The next morning, I went to Johnson Enterprises for work, as usual. Sophia still hadn't returned. She was probably at the hospital with her good friend. The thought made me feel sick. Mr. Ethan, you don't look well today, Secretary Emma said with concern. I'm Fina. I waved my hand. Look up Lucas's information for me. The more detail, the better. All right. Emma worked efficiently and had the information to me in less than an hour. Lucas, 30, creative director at Miller Creative Agency. He looked flashy, but the company was poorly managed and drowning in debt. No wonder he was trying to seduce a rich man's wife. I studied his information carefully, and a plan had already formed in my mind. Since you like to play, I'll play with you until you're satisfied. I picked up the phone and dialed a number. Mr. Michael, it's me, Ethan. Yes, I'd like to discuss a partnership. Mr. Michael is Lucas Company's biggest client, if he cancels his orders. Half an hour later, I made a few more calls. Starting today, Lucas's company will face unprecedented difficulties. And this is only the beginning. In the afternoon, Sophia finally came back. She looked exhausted, her eyes red and swollen. Clearly she'd been crying for a long time. Darling, she came over, her voice a little choked. About yesterday, I'm sorry. I looked up at her. This pitiful, tearful appearance used to move me easily. But now I only felt disgust. What happened? I pretended not to understand. It's about Lucas. I know you don't like him, but he's really just my friend. He got hurt yesterday. I was so anxious I spoke harshly. Please don't be mad, okay? A friend? Last night when you were in bed together, you didn't look like friends. I'm not mad, I said lightly. You're the one who said you wanted a divorce. That was me speaking in anger. Don't take it seriously. She sat next to me, reaching out to hug me. We're husband and wife. How could we possibly get a divorce over something so small? A small thing? In your eyes, is cheating just a small thing? I didn't push her away, but I didn't respond either. How is Lucas now? I asked. The doctor said it's only an external wound, nothing serious. He asked me to apologize to you, saying he ruined our marriage. Involved? Why didn't you say it was involving when you were in bed together? That's good, I nodded. Since it's nothing, don't come to our house anymore. What do you mean? What I mean is, I don't want him showing up at our house again. I looked at her. Is that too much to ask? Sophia's face looked a little unpleasant. But he's my friend. Friends can meet outside. There's no need to bring them home. She bit her lip and finally nodded. All right, I understand. Watching her compromise, I sneered inwardly. Afraid now? Too late. For the next few days, I pretended everything was back to normal. I showed concern where I should and was attentive where I should. Sophia thought I had let it go and began going out frequently again. Of course, she assumed I didn't know what she was up to. As for me, I quietly stepped up my pace of revenge. Lucas's company lost 3 major clients in succession. I learned through various channels that he had started to become anxious. He called Sophia several times, his voice edged with agitation. He was probably hoping she could get some money from me to help him through the rough patch. Too bad, he came to the wrong person. That evening, Sophia tentatively asked me, Darling, Lucas's company is having some trouble lately. Could I what? Can you help him? She asked cautiously. It's just some business cooperation. I put down the newspaper and looked at her. Why should I help him? Because he's my friend. Friend? I sneered. I have plenty of friends, and I never saw you care about any of them. Why are you so invested when it's him? I just thought if I can help, I should help. Help with what? I stood up. Business is war. If he ran it poorly, he deserves to go under. Why should I save him? But, no buts. I cut her off. Don't bring this up again. Sophia bit her lip, her eyes full of disappointment. She probably hadn't expected her obedient husband to be so resolute on this matter. But she didn't know this was only part of my revenge plan. Make you anxious, make you despair, then deliver the fatal blow. The next day, I deliberately left work early and went home. Sure enough, I saw Lucas in the living room. He was sitting on the sofa, saying something to Sophia, looking very anxious. When he saw me come in, both of them froze. Ethan. Lucas stood up awkwardly. I just came by to see Sophia. Is that so? I said coldly. I remember I told you I didn't want you coming to our house. Dear, it was me who asked Lucas to come. Sophia hurriedly stepped forward. He's in a bad mood. I wanted to comfort him. Comfort? I have seen how you comfort people. In a bad mood? I looked at Lucas. Why are you in a bad mood? Lucas's face was somewhat pale. It's about the company. What's wrong with the company? I asked, pretending not to know. We've recently lost a few clients. Funds are a bit tight. Oh, I see. I nodded. That is indeed difficult. But this kind of thing is common. Ups and downs in business are normal. I watched the forced smile he managed to squeeze out, feeling full of satisfaction. Worried now? Scared now? This is just the beginning. But I shifted my tone. I heard your company owed a lot of debt. Lucas went even paler. Not much. Really? I took out my phone. I have a friend who works in credit reporting. Wanting to check for you. No need. He hastily waved his hand. I know my own situation. No, you know nothing. Do you think losing those clients was a coincidence? Do you think the bank suddenly demanding repayment was accidental? Those were all my doing. And this is only the beginning. That's good. I put my phone away. Since it's nothing serious, there's no need to worry too much. Besides, even if the company goes under, you can always start over. Lucas's face had gone as white as paper. Start over? With what? He couldn't even begin to repay the debts in front of him, let alone start new. Sophia looked at Lucas and felt unbearably sympathetic. Darling, can't you help Lucas? Your company is so big. A single contract could save him. Why should I save him? I looked at her. Who is he to me? He's my friend. What does your friend have to do with me? Sophia was left speechless by my words. Yes, why should I? Why should I rescue my wife's lover? Is there anything more ridiculous in this world? Lucas stood to the side, listening to our conversation, his expression growing darker and darker. He probably realized that getting help from me was impossible. I'll be going now. He stood up. Sophia, let's talk another time. I'll walk you out. Sophia hurried to follow. I didn't stop them because I knew that no matter how she comforted him, it wouldn't change the fact that Lucas was about to go bankrupt. And the more she cared about Lucas, the more reason I had to suspect her. By the time she returned from seeing Lucas off, I was already waiting for her in the study. Seat. I gestured to the chair opposite. Sophia sat down somewhat apprehensively. I want to ask you a few questions. What problem? What is your relationship with Lucas exactly? Her body clearly stiffened for a moment. We are classmates, friends. Just friends? Of course, what else would it be? I looked at her, my gaze cold. When she lied, she always habitually blinked. That little gesture used to seem cute. Now it just made me sick. Are you sure? I'm sure. Her voice trembled a little. Honey, why are you asking that? Nothing, just curious. I stood up. After all, you care about him so much. It doesn't look like the way ordinary friends do. I just felt sorry for him. I sneered. There are plenty of pitiable people in the world. Why have I never seen you care like this before? Sophia lowered her head, not daring to look me in the eye. If he's just a friend, then keep your distance, I said coldly. I don't want to see him in our house again. I know, she answered softly. Seeing her guilty look, my hatred grew stronger. Good acting, but unfortunately I have already seen your true faces. Just wait, you'll soon find out how terrible the price of betraying me will be. Over the next week, I continued to press Lucas covertly. It wasn't just business blows. I used other methods as well. His company's lease expired, and the landlord suddenly refused to renew. He tried to find a new office, only to discover that every suitable place had already been rented out. He tried to get a bank loan, but was told there were problems with his credit. He tried to borrow money from friends, only to find they were avoiding him. In the space of a week, Lucas went from a successful advertising man to a desperate, ruined man with nowhere to turn. And Sophia grew increasingly anxious. She thought I didn't know, but in fact she was in contact with Lucas every day. Sometimes by phone, sometimes on Facebook, sometimes even sneaking out to meet him. Every time she came back, she was in low spirits, probably worrying about her lover. Too bad her worries were useless. That night, she finally couldn't hold back. Dear, I'm begging you, please help Lucas. She knelt before me, tears in her eyes. He's truly out of options. If you don't help him, he'll go bankrupt. I looked at my wife kneeling on the ground. Not a trace of pity stirred in me. I told you, his matters have nothing to do with me. But he's innocent. Innocent? A wife who seduces another man being called innocent? Innocent or not, I don't know. I only know I'm under no obligation to save him. Darling, she grabbed my leg. I know you have a kind heart. You surely can't bear to see him like this. A kind heart? I almost laughed out loud. I'm never kind to those who betray me. Get up, I said coldly. Doesn't kneeling make your mouth tired? I'm not getting up, she cried. If you don't promise me, I won't get up. Do as you like. I stepped around her and headed for the study. I'm going to work. Ethan, she yelled from behind. How did you become like this? You weren't like this before. Before? I really wasn't like this before. I used to do whatever you asked and was always polite to your friends. But that was because I thought you loved me. Now that I know the truth, of course I've changed. The next morning, Sophia didn't get out of bed. She was wrapped in the covers, looking utterly haggard. What's wrong? Not feeling well, I asked, feigning concern. I'm Fine. Her voice was muffled. Just a bit tired. Tired? Tired from worrying about your lover. More like. Then you rest. I'm going to work. Wait. She sat up. Darling, I'm asking you once more. Please help Lucas. He called me last night and said he wants to kill himself. Kill himself? That's a pretty clever move. Too bad I don't fall for that. If he wants to kill himself, let him. Don't bother me. I said calmly. It'll save me the trouble of having to look at him. Sophia stared at me in shock, as if she were meeting me for the first time. You, how can you say something like that? Why can't I say it? I retorted. What does his death have to do with me? His life was taken. Yes, it's a human life. I nodded. But what does his life have to do with me? Sophia was completely shocked by my coldness. She probably hadn't expected her usually gentle husband to say something so cruel. But this is reality. For those who betray me, I will have no sympathy. I'm divorcing you, she suddenly shouted. Ethan, I'm so disappointed in you. I don't want a man like this. Divorce again. It seems she really wants freedom. Too bad. I won't let her have it. At least, I won't let her leave with my money. All right, I smiled. But before the divorce, we need to make some things clear. What things? I took the USB drive from my bag and placed it in front of her. For example, this. She looked at the USB drive, her face turning ashen in an instant. What is this? Open it and you'll see. Sophia's hand trembled. She had a rough idea of what was on the USB, but she still pretended not to know. Why should I look? Because this concerns our divorce agreement, I said coldly. If after watching you still want a divorce, we'll go to the civil affairs office. She bit her lip, then finally opened the laptop and plugged in the USB drive. When the first video file played, her face went completely pale. On the screen, clear footage showed her and Lucas in an intimate situation. Where did this come from? Hotel surveillance, I said matter-of-factly. From Lucas's room. Her body began to tremble. You're spying on me? It's not surveillance. It's an investigation, I corrected her. After all, your behavior has been too suspicious. When the audio file played, she completely collapsed. Hearing herself say I was a tool, saying she would swindle all my money, there wasn't a trace of color left in her face. Enough, she suddenly shouted and shut the computer off. Enough. Do you still want a divorce now? I asked. She slumped in the chair, as if her soul had been drained. I can't speak, I sneered. Weren't you eager to divorce, just now? Why are you silent now? I can explain. Explain what? I cut her off. Explain you sleeping with Lucas? Or explain calling me a tool? She kept her head down, tears falling in big drops. Saudi City. Sorry? Now you say sorry? Too late. Kneel, I said coldly. Sophia looked up, shock written all over her face. What? I said kneel. I repeated. Apologize to me. Her expression grew even uglier. Ethan, don't be unreasonable. Excessive. I laughed. You betrayed our marriage, cheated and had affairs, called me a tool. Now that I make you kneel and apologize, that's excessive. Kneel. My voice suddenly raised, making her shiver all over. In the end, she still knelt down. I am sorry, she said, crying. Honey, I was wrong. Watching my wife kneeling on the ground, a surge of satisfaction rose in my chest. This is the consequence of betraying me. Where did I go wrong? I shouldn't have cheated. I shouldn't have spoken ill of you. Anything else? I shouldn't have lied to you. Continue. I shouldn't have been with Lucas. I shouldn't have betrayed our marriage. As she spoke, her crying grew worse. Tears on her face like pear blossoms in the rain. I would once have been unbearably pained by that. Now, I only felt hypocrisy. Why are you crying? I said coldly. Didn't you think about the consequences when you were doing it? I really know I was wrong. Darling, Will you forgive me? I promise I'll never do it again. Forgive her? I almost laughed out loud. Forgive you? I looked down at her from above. Do you think that possible? I'm willing to do anything to make it up to you. Anything? Yes, anything. She nodded hastily. As long as you don't leave me. Not leave you? Why would I leave you? If I wanted to leave, I would have done so long ago. I stay to make you pay. All right, then I'll give you a chance. I said, call Lucas and have him come to our house. What? She looked at me in disbelief. You want to see Lucas? Yes, I want to talk to him face to face. Sophia's expression grew even worse. She had probably guessed my intention. Darling, you wouldn't do anything to him, would you? What are you going to do? I laughed. I'm not a murderer. What could I do to him? Then why did you meet him? Of course, to thank him properly. My smile grew colder. To thank him for helping me see your true face. Sophia trembled all over, but in the end, she still picked up the phone. Half an hour later, Lucas arrived. He felt the tense atmosphere as soon as he came in. Sophia was kneeling on the floor, her eyes red and swollen. I was sitting on the sofa, my face dark. Ethan, he ventured, what did you want to see me about? Seat. I gestured to the chair opposite. He sat down uneasily, his eyes avoiding mine. I want to talk to you, I said, about you and my wife. Lucas's face went ashen in an instant. Ethan, what are you saying? I don't understand. Don't understand? I took out my laptop and opened that video file. Then look at this. Can you understand it? When the familiar scene appeared on the screen, Lucas was completely stunned. Well, do you understand now? I asked coldly. Lucas glanced at the screen, then at Sophia kneeling on the ground, and finally understood the situation. Ethan, I can explain. Explain what? I cut him off. Explain how you seduced my wife. Or explain how you were the ones insulting me behind my back. Or are you going to explain why you called me a doormat? The audio file played, and Lucas's face had gone as white as paper. I'm sorry. Ethan, I was wrong. Realize it now. I stood up and walked over to him. Too late. Lucas looked up at me, his eyes full of terror. Ethan, what do you want? What do I want? I laughed. What do you think I should do? I'm willing to leave, never see Sophia again. Leave. I shook my head. Do you think it's that simple? What do you want? What I want is simple. I crouched and looked him in the eye. I want you to pay. What price? Your company, your reputation, everything of yours. I spoke each word deliberately. I will make you have nothing. Lucas's pupils contracted as he finally realized something. You were the one who was working against me behind my back. Correct. I patted his face. Clever. Why would you do this? Why? I smiled. Because you touched someone you shouldn't have. But Sophia was the one who made the first move. Slap. I slapped him across the face. Now you know how to pass the blame? I said coldly. You're a grown man. How can you say something like that? Lucas clutched his face, eyes full of humiliation. But he didn't dare resist, because he knew that now he had nothing left. And I held his life in my hands. Ethan, I'm begging you. He suddenly dropped to his knees. Please let me off. I really know I was wrong. Beg me. I looked down at him from above. What right do you have to beg me? I'll do anything. Just please let me go. Anything. Yes, anything. All right, I said. I want you to tell everything about you and Sophia in front of her. Including when the first time you slept together was, where it was, and how you planned to swindle money from me. Lucas's face grew even uglier. Ethan, what? Unwilling. I sneered. Then forget it. Your company is finished anyway. The creditors will come calling soon. By then you won't even be able to save your life. Why worry about a little face? Lucas trembled all over, glanced at Sophia, then at me. In the end, he chose to give in. It started 3 months ago, he said, his voice shaking. At the Star Hotel. Sophia listened beside him, her face as pale as paper. Continue, I said coldly. It was Sophia who started it. She said you don't understand romance, that all you do is make money. Lucas, Sophia suddenly shouted. How can you say that? Did I say it wrong? Lucas exploded back. You were the one who said you'd use Ethan's money. You were the one who said you'd wait until the time was right and then divorce him. Now something's gone wrong, and you want to dump all the blame on me." The two of them began to blame each other, tearing away the last shred of decency. I sat to the side, watching the farce with a cold eye. Is this what they call true love? When trouble comes, they push the blame onto each other like dogs fighting over a scrap. Enough! I cut off their quarrel. "Shut up, both of you!" They both stopped at once, looking at me in fear. "Now, I'll give you two choices," I said coldly. "First, I post these videos online and let everyone see your disgrace. Then I sue you for adultery and make you perform again in court." Their faces grew even more sullen. "What's the second option?" Sophia asked, trembling. "The second is, you solve it yourselves," I said. "How you solve it is none of my business. In any case, I don't want to see you again." "What do you mean?" "So you mean, either you two disappear together, or I make you disappear." Sophia and Lucas exchanged a glance, and both saw the despair in each other's eyes. "Ethan," Sophia cried, "we really know we were wrong. Please give us one more chance, okay?" "Chance?" I laughed. "I've given you chances. Before I found out, you had countless chances to stop, but you chose to keep deceiving me. I can cut ties with Lucas. From now on, we'll act like nothing ever happened." "Act as if nothing happened?" I sneered. "Do you think that's possible? Every time I see you, I think of how you looked in bed together. Every time I hear you speak, I remember you calling me a tool. Do you think I can pretend none of it ever happened?" Sophia was completely desperate. She knelt on the floor, relentlessly kowtowing. "Darling, I'm begging you. I was really wrong. I'll work like an ox or a horse from now on. Just please don't leave me." Looking at her degraded state, not a single stir of sympathy touched me. This is the price of betrayal. "Too late," I said coldly. "From the moment you betrayed me, it was over between us." In the days that followed, Sophia completely lost her mind. She followed me everywhere, apologizing nonstop, begging for mercy. Sometimes she knelt at the company door, sometimes she blocked the entrance to our home. She looked pathetic, her hair a mess, eyes swollen and red, noticeably thinner. Colleagues were gossiping, saying my wife had a breakdown. I offered no explanation and paid no attention. To me, she was already a stranger. Lucas was worse off. His company collapsed completely, leaving him with massive debts. Creditors camped outside his home every day, demanding repayment, and he had to go into hiding. I heard he tried to ask Sophia for money, but Sophia could scarcely look after herself now. Where would she get money for him? Their relationship fell apart entirely. They argued whenever they met, and even came to blows. I would occasionally receive messages that they were causing a scene somewhere again. Every time I heard those reports, a satisfied smile crossed my face. This is what happens when you betray me. That night, Sophia was kneeling at the doorstep again, waiting for me. Darling, she saw me and immediately crawled over to cling to my leg. "I'm begging you, forgive me." "Let go," I said coldly. "I won't let go," she cried. "If you don't forgive me, I won't let go." I looked at her, with not a trace of pity in my eyes. "Do you know?" I crouched down to meet her eyes. "The you now makes me feel sick." Her body stiffened. The you from before at least had some dignity. The you now is worse than a dog. I don't care," she sobbed. "As long as you can forgive me, I'll do anything." "Really, anything goes?" "Really? All right then." I took out my phone. "Call Lucas and ask him to come out." "What? Didn't you say anything goes?" I sneered. "Then prove it to me." Sophia trembled as she dialed Lucas's number. Half an hour later, Lucas showed up. He looked no better than Sophia did. Scruffy beard, wrinkled clothes. When he saw us, a flash of resentment crossed his eyes. "What do you want?" he asked warily. "Nothing." I smiled. "Just wanted to let you two rekindle an old flame." "What do you mean?" "It means, aren't you in love? Then stay together." I pointed to the trash bin beside us. "That's quite suitable. You could try it there." Both of them changed their expressions at the same time. "Ethan, you're going too far," Lucas said angrily. "Too far." I laughed. How come you didn't think it was too far when you were on my bed? Lucas was left speechless. What? You don't want to? I sneered. Fine then. After all, your true love is only this much. We're not that kind of relationship anymore. Sophia said softly. Not that kind of relationship. I feigned surprise. Stopped loving each other so quickly? Seems your love is nothing special after all. They both kept their heads down, not daring to speak. Since you don't love me anymore, then both of you can get lost. I waved my hand. Don't come bothering me again. Ethan. Sophia still wanted to say something. Get out. I barked coldly. If I see you two again, don't blame me for being ruthless. The two of them were intimidated by my aura and slunk away. Watching their disheveled backs, a great sense of satisfaction rose in me. This is the consequence of betraying me. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. A month later, I heard news about Sophia. She had committed suicide. In the cafe where we used to date, she poisoned herself. I was in the office handling documents when I heard the news. Emma cautiously told me, probably worried I would be upset, but actually I felt very calm. One could even say, somewhat relieved. Ethan, are you all right? Emma asked anxiously. I'm fine. I said without looking up. Are there any funeral arrangements? I heard her parents are already taking care of it. That's good. I nodded. Remember to send a wreath. Say it's from the company. Emma froze for a moment, probably not expecting me to be so cold. But I really was. To those who betrayed me, if they're dead, then they're dead. None of my concern. I didn't attend Sophia's funeral. Not because I was heartbroken, but because I couldn't be bothered to go. Her parents came to me, crying and begging me to forgive her. I refused coldly. Forgive? She's already dead. What is there to forgive? And even if she were alive, I wouldn't forgive her. As for Lucas, shortly after Sophia's death, he disappeared as well. I heard creditors had driven him to desperation, and he jumped off a building to kill himself. But that was only a rumor, since no body was found. In any case, whether he was truly dead or had faked his death didn't matter to me. He would never dare show himself in front of me again anyway. 6 months later, my life had completely returned to normal. Johnson Enterprises' business was booming, and I had begun a social life again. Friends all said I had changed, become colder and more pragmatic. I did not deny it. After the betrayal, I had indeed changed. I no longer trusted people easily and became more protective of myself. That was fine. At least I wouldn't get hurt again. That night, I was at home watching TV when the doorbell suddenly rang. I opened the door and saw a stranger standing on the doorstep. She was about 25 or 26, very pretty, with a graceful bearing. Hello, I'm a new neighbor, she said with a smile. My name is Olivia Davis. Hello. I nodded politely. Our TV is broken. Could we borrow your Wi-Fi? I glanced at her and ultimately let her in. After all, she was a neighbor. Refusing would seem petty. But inwardly, I remained on guard. After being betrayed, I no longer trusted any woman. Olivia Davis was talkative and fun. We talked about many topics from work to life, from hobbies to aspirations. She seemed sincere, without any fake affectation. Still, I kept my distance. Are you married? She asked suddenly. Divorced, I said calmly. Oh, I'm sorry, she said awkwardly. I didn't mean to pry into your personal affairs. It's okay. I waved my hand. It's not exactly a secret anyway. If you don't mind, could you tell me why you divorced? I glanced at her and thought for a moment. She cheated. Olivia Davis's expression grew somewhat sympathetic. That must have been painful. Pain? At first it was indeed very painful. But now, only indifference remains. I'm okay, I said. People have to look forward. Olivia Davis nodded and didn't ask anymore. I appreciated her sense of propriety. When she left her phone number. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. I took the number but didn't promise anything. I now had an instinctive distrust of women, even if they seemed sincere. A year later, I was sitting in my office, finishing the last document. Johnson Enterprises had expanded nationwide, and I had become a leader in the industry. Success in my career hadn't brought me much happiness, but at least it made me forget the pain of the past. Emma knocked and came in, holding a newspaper. "Mr. Ethan, would you like to see this?" I took the newspaper and saw a headline. Famous advertiser Lucas arrested on fraud charges. So he wasn't dead after all. He'd just been in hiding. Now he's been caught. He'll probably be in prison for a long time. I looked at the article without the slightest change in mood. Whether it was Sophia's death or Lucas's arrest, to me they were nothing but passing clouds. I had completely let the past go. I folded the paper and went back to work. Outside the window, the sun was setting and the city's lights were coming on. Life must go on, and I had learned how to face the world alone. No trust, no reliance, no betrayal. That kind of life, though lonely, felt very safe. That's fine with me.